Islam is a religion full of contradictions and lies, and within it lies a bitter and tragic irony. Because despite Muslims claiming Islam is the one true monotheistic religion that came to end idolatry and stone worship, Muslims themselves venerate a black stone, but say this is not idolatry. They say this despite the fact the people they attack as stone worshippers and idolaters, such as Hindus and pagans, use statues and stones to worship their God in exactly the same way Muslims do. Using Islam's own criteria, I will now show you that Muslims are idolaters, and here is why. So idolatry is defined as the worship of objects as God, or the praying to an object in the worship of God. So that means the use of objects in the worship of God also makes that object an idol. In Islam, the association of anything with Allah is called idolatry. In Islam, venerating or prostrating to rocks in worship for spiritual benefit is also idolatry. Well, in Islam, it's recommended Muslims kiss a rock in worship at the Kaaba. This is because Muhammad would kiss it. Muhammad would kiss the rock because kissing it forgives sin. That sounds like kissing a stone for spiritual benefit, doesn't it? Muslims will respond with this hadith, where Umar says, I know that you are a stone and can neither benefit anyone nor harm anyone. The problem is that this is not Muhammad speaking. It's the opinion of Umar. And as you just saw, Muhammad said the stone forgives sin. So kissing the stone does bring benefit. Umar's statement clearly contradicts Muhammad's, and Umar's words cannot be overtaken or take over Muhammad's. If it is just a stone, as Umar said, then why did it greet Muhammad before and after he was a prophet? That doesn't sound like just a stone. If it is just a stone, then why is it turning black as it absorbs the sin of all who kiss it? That doesn't sound like just a stone. Absorbing the sin of those who touch the stone is not contested amongst the scholars, so this is authentic Islam. And if it's just a stone, then why does it come alive and testify to the truthfulness of everyone who ever touched or kissed it? So Muslims kiss a stone in order to get spiritual benefit from it. That's very clear. That is idolatry. And the stone cannot be just an inert stone because it's physically absorbing sin and it's cognizant. Okay, it's greeting people and can remember the religious sincerity of everyone who kisses it. So the power to determine religious truthfulness and forgive sin is a power only God can have. Therefore, the black stone is an idol and a partner with Allah. But okay, let's just say the stone doesn't forgive the sin and Muslims just kiss the stone in an act of worship to Allah, which is exactly what they're going to say. And let's just say it is Allah who forgives the sin. Well, this is still a big idolatrous problem because it means Allah demands the kissing of an object to forgive sin, which means it still means Muslims venerate a stone. And veneration is reverence. And reverence to an object during an actual act of worship is idolatry. Islam QA agrees. Veneration of something that is not Allah is idolatry. And we've just seen that idolatry is defined as the use of something in the worship of God. Islam QA admits kissing the stone is an act of worship. So as I've just said, the requirement to kiss a stone in a specific act of worship to God means Muslims must use a stone in order to communicate with their God. Using stones to worship or communicate with God is idolatry, and that's exactly what Muslims are doing. Allah agrees with me because in Quran 10:18, he says people who use rocks and statues as intercessors in their worship of God are idolaters. Well, we've just seen that Muslims do the same thing. They use stones as an intermediary in their worship of Allah. Tafsir al-Tabari and al-Jalalain support what I just said. In verse 10:18, Allah literally says, the use of objects in their worship of God is idolatry. And if Muslims claim they do not worship stones, but the black stone is really unique because it came from heaven, well, can I explain this? Muhammad would touch the Yemeni corner as well as the black stone. And touching the Yemeni corner also forgives sin. And the reason is because there was another stone there. So touching another stone also forgives sin. So it's just not the black stone, it's another stone. So whatever way you look at this, Islam has a stone idol problem, which means Muslims are idolaters. This was Debunking Islam, and Islam was just debunked.